So when
Mm.
I was born, uh, there was whatever my dad said. I was born and I got electrocuted at 9 months.
Wow.
So that's where you see the scar here,
Mm.
which it looks 10 times better than what really happened, because I've had 7 surgeries. So
Mm.
um, when I was when I had the eighth, when I was getting ready to schedule the eighth, I had the appointment with the doctor. So this is part of my encounter. I'm gonna back up. My mom gets saved when when I turned 8.
Mm.
So she finally met the Lord. The Lord had brought her to, I would say, nothing. So we had money, and then we didn't have anything.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So
Yep.
we she was self-sufficient. She if she heard somebody play gospel music in her any of her businesses, she would tell them to turn it off. Like she was just very like, I don't want anything to do with God.
Wow.
Okay. And then some things happen. Of course, this happens to me. Like just different things started to happen and transpire in her life. And she was brought to her knees. So she chose
Mm.
God when I was about 8 years old. So imagine your mom getting saved. You've been living life. We just live life. Like we don't acknowledge God. There's no presence. Like we don't know who he is really. We just right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but we have Muslim rules though. So there's no pork in the house. There's no this. There's no that. We have those type of rules.
Mm.
And my mom comes home one day and like she shuts everything down. Like she blocks all the channels that have like the music and all kinds of stuff. Like she goes die hard into Christianity.
Wow.
So we go from living regular lives to like she let us keep VH1 because she didn't know
Mm.
music videos were still on VH1.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that was all we had.
Yeah.
And so I got saved at 8. And when I got saved is when my spiritual gifts started. So I'll
Oh.
I'll get to that point
Huh.
um, whenever we get there. So I told you I had 7 surgeries.
Yep.
I had scheduled to do the eighth, and I was about 16 at that time. And
Mm.
so I'm in the room with the doctor. This is my first time hearing the audible voice of the Lord, too. And he's like, okay, we're going to do a skin graft. We're going to do this. And by the time we're done, nobody's going to know that anything ever happened to you. Right.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, that sounds so good. Right. And I heard the Lord say, don't do it.
Oh.
So just imagine like a father's voice go, don't do it.
Mm.
This is your testimony.
Wow.
And I began to cry because I know that when I leave here, I'm not coming back. So
Mm.
in my mind, it's like I'm never gonna look like everybody else, right? Um, I don't know why I obeyed him because I obeyed in that sense, and then I took off running like a bat out of hell in the other sense. Like I was like, well, I'm gonna just do what I want.
Mm.
I'm gonna just live how I want to live.
Wow.
Because I didn't find that fair, in the sense that I didn't understand that. But that was my first time hearing the audible voice of God and knowing that a part of my testimony would be this scar that I have.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to me, getting electrocuted at 9 months, even though my parents weren't saved, there was a destiny for me. So the enemy tried to kill
Yeah.
me right out the womb.
Mm. But that was also a part of your mom's testimony, though, to get her to a point of surrender, which is
Right.
wild. So it took all these things for her to finally succumb to the Lord, but maybe through her prayers and through that testimony, God was really placing it on your heart. So what, 8 years later, from after 8 to 16, he's talked to you audibly, and
Audibly.
he said that to you to say, "Don't do it, for it's your testimony." That's powerful because that would give you purpose within what you went through as a destiny, and it's not just a misgiving of the world, because that's what you probably thought for all that time. You're like, "Well, that's just my luck of the draw, is what it is." But no, it was God's plan to use what the enemy used for evil for
For
good, what he
good.
always does, and that's, what a redemptive story that is. So during that time, during your mom's conversion to Christianity when you're around 8 and your dad was more leaning towards a Muslim, was that dynamic hard? in
Yeah,
the
so then
upbringing?
it began to change the dynamic of their marriage, right? So they were literally, that's why I think it's interesting when people say that two people of different faith can be together, because
Mm,
I beg to differ. I'm the child, I am a child that was in a home like that. And although
yeah.
they tried, there was literally two altars
Mm,
at war.
wow.
Now, people don't look at it like that, right? But that's really what it is. You have an altar
Mhm.
unto Allah, and you have an altar that's unto the true and living God. Now, God says that He is a jealous God, but exclusivity is what He requires. So, although I do believe that my father would have been a good convert, he was so riddled with demons. He was so, and there's more to this story too.
Mm,
He was dedicated to altars, and we didn't know about warfare in that capacity like that then. Do you know what I
wow.
mean? we
Yeah, oh,
we
yeah.
didn't go to a church where they were like, oh, Christians could have demons, or there could be familiar spirits on your
Mm,
bloodline that's keeping you, you know what I mean, like those things
yeah,
were not taught. So people are trying to figure out what is truth, because really what it is, right, they're trying to figure out what is truth.
yeah.
And even when they come to the truth, they know that they're being tormented spiritually. And at that time, the church was not offering spiritual solutions, even though it's in the
Mm.
text.
That's right, and that's the problem we see today too. Even in this day and age, you would think that there's more of a spiritual awakening. You're seeing it more, I guess, underground, if you will. You don't see it in mainstream Christianity. Every church
Oh.
I go into, they're raising their hands up to in worship, but that's about it. You really got to find some smaller churches to find the spirit moving in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Deliverance, generational curses, bloodlines, those things are not talked about, especially, coming from different churches that I've been into as well. There's no mention of it. And that's
No.
a disservice because Jesus talks about it, the Bible talks about it plainly, and it could have changed your upbringing a little bit as well, in a good way, not
Yes.
a bad way. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
always
glad you
think about
mentioned that.
my, right. I agree, because I do believe, you know how God does, he does ordain marriages. So I do believe that my mother was my father's wife because he obtained favor instantly, right? Like
Oh,
things that
wow.
they did would just automatically just take off, right?
Mm,
When he didn't honor her, he would be in trouble. So he didn't realize that he really did, that was really his wife, but he wouldn't let Allah go. He wanted
mm.
that God and everything else.
Wow.